Just have a little talk with Jesus. Tell him all about our troubles. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on, let's sing that one tonight. Goes like this. You've heard this one, haven't you? Now let us have a little talk with Jesus. Tell him all about our troubles. He will hear our faintest cry, and he will answer by and by. When you feel a little prayer will turn, you know a little fire is burning. Find a little talk with Jesus makes it right.
Have a little talk with Jesus,
and we will
tell him all about our troubles.
He will
hear our faintest cry,
and he will answer by and by. When you feel a little prayer will turn, will you better know that
fire is burning.
burning? Have a little talk with
Jesus makes it right.
ain't easy daily, daily. I know Jesus is taking care of me. New mercies every morning. Yeah, you daily load me with benefits. I'm a benefit boy. You treat me like your only child in the world. I know, Jesus, you're taking care of me. We are here to testify. Jesus is taking care of me. Oh, Jesus is looking after me. Jesus is watching over me. I'm shining because Jesus is taking care of me.
Yes, you daily keep your angels charge over me. Indeed, you're taking care of me. I don't need to pay for the air that I breathe, You're taking care of me. Child, your blessings just follow me. Child, angels watching over me. Before I call you answer me. I'm a benefit yellow. He's taking care of me. Jesus is taking care of me. Jesus is taking care of me. You never leave me. You never let me go. Jesus is looking after me. Jesus is watching over me. I'm shining because Jesus is taking care of me.
You watch over me, you take care of me, child.
Jesus is taking care of me. Oh, Jesus is looking after me.
He's watching over me.
Jesus is watching over me. I'm shining because Jesus is taking care of me.
Hey, Pollard.
Jesus is taking care of me. Everything is working out for my good. Jesus is taking care of me.
I take my battles,
Jesus is taking care of me. Many blessings open up everywhere. Jesus is taking care of me.
testimony.
Jesus is taking care of me.
Let this place I receive daily, daily. I know He's taking care of me.
Oh, how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. I am here this morning to lift our offering, and we want to thank you for taking out the time to join us in worship this morning. We have 3 ways that you can give here at New Beginnings. The first is Givelify, which is an app that you can find in the Google Play Store or the iTunes Store. Just download that app, look for New Beginnings, and you can give that way. The second way is to go to our website, www.nbcogbf.org. Look for the donate tab and give that way. And the third and final way is to write a check, send it to New Beginnings, Church of God by Faith, 2800 Northeast 59th Street, Gainesville, Florida, 32609. Now, on your screen, you may see what we call a QR code. If you have a smartphone, you can actually just hold up your phone to the screen, and then that will pull up the way that you can give to us here at New Beginnings. If you are tech savvy, you can find us here on YouTube. So let your family and friends know. Share and say, hey, New Beginnings is live. Join me in worship. Thank you so much again for your offering. God bless you, and have a great day.
You may have lost on yesterday, but today you can start again and say,
Today is a good day to worship.
it's a good day to thank Him.
Today is a good day to thank Him.
There's no better day
There's no better
than
day.
today.
There's no better day than today.
Today begins your new future. You can start over. Let's go, come on.
Today is a good day to praise Him.
It's left my worries on yesterday.
I ain't worrying because I know everything's okay.
I started writing myself a new story, singing myself a new song.
It's my song, praising my Savior
That happened all day.
all the day long.
You gotta know that old things are passed away, and there's a new you here today. It's a good day to worship. I just want to thank him today. Here is why there's no better day than today. Because I can see my blessings and my favor. He supplies. My vision is so much better today. Yes. And he supplies all of my needs. Even though the struggle is real, I can say today is a good day. You gotta let go of your past because there's a new you here today. Your tears have expired. You start over today. Listen, don't worry about tomorrow. Your new day starts today. You gotta know you've already won the fight. Today is a good day. Come on, walkers, take me higher. Woo! Let's go. There's no cap in my happiness. Today is a good day. The fight is already won. You got the victory today. You gotta believe it. You gotta know it. That today is a good day. I just want to encourage you and let you know that every day with Jesus, it gets sweeter and sweeter than the day before. Today is your good day.
Good morning and welcome to New Beginnings Church of God by Faith. As you can see, this is our Living by Faith series. We are so excited. This month we have been talking about stewardship. Last week we talked about all kinds of stewardship, whether it is financial stewardship, stewardship of your gifts and of your talents. And if you have not seen that segment yet, we want you right after this service is over to go check that one out as well. But today we are talking all things financial management, money management, getting your credit all the way together. And so we're so excited about this series. We're so excited about what God is teaching us about stewarding the finances and the wealth that He has given us. And so we're so excited to have, number one, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Minister Cheryl Thomas. And also my co-host on the other end of the table is Sister Beverly Rollins. And we have two esteemed guests with us on today that I'm so excited that we wrangled them in and they said yes to the Lord and to being on here with us. And so on my right, we have Ladonna Pollard. She has 20 years of expertise in the financial and banking industry. And to her right, we have Minister Valerie Thomas. She has 11 years of experience and expertise in the financial and banking industry. And so we knew we had to bring them here
Yes.
to get all of the wisdom, to get the knowledge so that we know what to do with the wealth and with the finances that God has given us. And so I'm so excited to have you all here. We're going to jump through some questions. So if you are at home, we need you to get pen, pad, get ready for the wealth that God has given or is getting ready to give to you, learning how to be good stewards of that. But before we dive into that, I want to talk about the top 5 scriptures that they list for money management. So I want you to write these down, put them on your wall, put them in your purse next to your checkbook. But these are scriptures that I want us to have in our minds. The first is Proverbs chapter 3, verses 9 and 10. It says, honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruit of your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine. I don't know if you're like me, but I need my barns to be filled with a little more plenty than they have right now. So also let's jump to Luke chapter 16, verses 10 and 11. It says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whosoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. So if you have not been trustworthy in handling worldly wealth, who will then trust you with true riches?
Wow.
That hit me like right there, but okay. And then I'm going to stop at this one. I know I said 5, but we'll put some more in the comments so that you can see them. I'm going to stop at 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10 says, for the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. So we want to make sure that even as we're talking on tonight, you'll hear us talk about how to handle money the way God wants us to handle money. And so we're going to run through some questions. I've got a whole lot of questions. And if you have questions, put those in the comments. Maybe these beautiful ladies will come back for a follow-up as we move forward to learning how to handle God's money well. And so the first thing I want to talk about, since both of you have extensive banking histories, is what is the difference between banking at a regular bank and a credit union? What are the differences between those two?
Want me to start first? It doesn't matter. Okay. I'll start first with that one. The difference between a bank and a credit union is banks are for profit. So that means that they are for profit for their shareholders, whereas a credit union is a not-for-profit organization. And so what they do is the money that is made from a credit union is spread amongst the members that you have. So your members are your shareholders, and members actually are part owners of the credit union.
I did not know that. I'm learning so much.
Exactly.
If you were like me, put in the comments, I didn't know that either. I am learning. I did not know that was one of the differences. So let me ask a follow-up question for that is, what are the disadvantages or the advantages of being at a credit union versus being at a bank? Why would I choose either one?
So it depends on what you like, to be very honest. For as far as a credit union goes, credit unions normally offer lower fees, higher deposit rates, and lower loan rates. And so for the advantages for a banking institution is, first of all, foremost, they have way more branches and way more ATMs than a credit union does, because clearly credit unions are smaller than banking institutions like Bank of America, Chase, and all that stuff. And then also, too, an advantage of being a part of them is they offer more products and services that a credit union may have. Credit unions, a lot of times, now some credit unions are larger and they're bigger and they can kind of compare with some banking institutions, but a lot of times credit unions aren't able to offer the products and services that a big bank like Bank of America is able to offer. And then you may have different platform things, like as far as like online banking. They have more robust online banking systems where credit unions may not have as much as they do. Now, of course, credit unions are growing and they're getting better and things are getting more robust in the credit union world, but banking institutions actually have more to offer when it comes to that. So it really depends on what you like and what you need, convenience for you.
Okay. Ms. Valerie, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
Well, for me, I like credit unions because I think credit unions are more user-friendly. You can be a little bit more personal at a credit union than you can at a big bank. Typically, if you're like really in need of something, let's say for instance that your credit doesn't warrant that you really can get it at a big bank, typically a credit union will work with you in that situation. So that's one of the advantages of being with or going to a credit union versus a big bank.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I like to. I've banked at both, but I have a preference for credit unions for that same thing. Is the customer service is typically exceptional at a credit union, and if you have my money, I want you to be nice to me.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it just makes you feel better
Yes.
that like you really care that I'm a member or that I do my business with you. So that makes a lot of difference. Did you want to add something, Valerie?
I did have a question on when your explanation about a higher deposit rate.
Mhm.
What exactly does that mean?
So when you're talking about deposit rates, it could be like if you have a savings, or if you're talking about certificate of deposits, when you have CDs,
Mhm.
or money market rates. Credit unions typically have a better rate than a banking institution does normally. Now, sometimes it can vary. I'm not saying that it doesn't change, but a lot of times you get a better rate with a credit union when it comes to that.
Okay.
So that's a better place for me to try to grow a savings account because I'll get a higher interest rate typically.
Correct.
Okay, awesome. I love that. So I know where to put my money. Awesome, awesome.
So then, since we're talking about credit, what is when it comes to the banking industry? What is credit, and why is it important?
Credit is actually a record that has been kept on your financial management. And what a lot of people don't understand is credit is how worthy are you of us to lend you this money? It's your credit power. So basically, if you've not been a good steward over the things that have been placed in your hands, if you've gotten a loan from someone and you didn't pay it back on time, that's going to mean you're going to have a lower credit score, which means that you're not, in the eyes of the financial institution, worthy of them lending you money. And so if you know that you're going to be needing, if you're not, and I'm just going to say this, Dave Ramsey doesn't believe that a credit score is necessary. And I want to say this, off the bat. For most of us African Americans, we don't have money stockpiled up. So we need credit. So if you don't have a good credit score and you don't have a lot of money stacked up somewhere, you need to work on your credit because it determines how much money you're going to pay for the things that you get. So credit is very important.
Awesome. You want to add to that?
No, I totally agree with Valerie. It's basically just the ability, credit is the ability for you to be able to borrow money or be able to get a car, be able to get a mortgage or whatever, but with the understanding of you have to pay it back. It's not just something for you to get. You have to pay it back. Absolutely. We want it back. And sometimes with interest, depending on the type of loan that you receive. So that's really the basis of what credit is.
And so, when you were talking about your credit worthiness and being able, that's how you purchase stuff. Because I know even like when you're looking, not only at buying a car, but even sometimes when you're trying to get a job, they're looking at your credit.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
credit is super
Big deal.
important.
Yes.
Absolutely.
is.
So-
Yeah.
Well, and so let's talk about this. Let's say that in the past I might not have been credit worthy, or there may have been situations that happened in my life that caused me to get behind on some obligations that I had. Maybe I missed a couple of car payments. What are good things to do to help restore my credit so that in the future I have a higher credit score and so that I can get things lower interest or that a bank will even loan me money?
So with the example that you just gave, as far as if you're someone that missed some payments because certain circumstances came up within your life, really the basis of what you could do is just start to make your payments on time when it comes to that. Because payment history is made up of 35% of your credit score. So it's a that's the biggest part of your how you actually are looked at as far as credit is your payment history. So you want to make sure that you get back into the rhythm of making your payments on A lot of times people run away from, when you have situations like that, run away from talking to the team there at that financial institution to say, hey, let them know exactly what's going on with you. Maybe they're able to do something to help you do something that's like a workout loan or something like that, where they can put those payments on the rears or something something like that, to where you're caught back up, you're current, and then you're making your payments on time. But it's all about communication too, because a lot of times that's the biggest thing. When people fall behind, they hide. They don't want to talk about it.
They won't answer the phone.
They won't answer the phone. Right. They won't answer the phone. Right. Exactly. And, but not understanding that that institution doesn't want that collateral back, so they want to do whatever that they can to be able to keep you in it, or being able to get you back on track to be able to pay for it. So it's all about communication too when it comes to that, when you're behind. But making your payments on time is the biggest thing.
Okay. I like that. Any additions?
If you have debt, some people are overextended. And so one of the things that you can do is formulate a plan to pay things off. There's the snowball method, there's the avalanche method of paying it down, but you want to pay down your balances as much as you can. And sometimes paying more than one time a month will help you get that paid down faster. The snowball method is paying the smallest, and I might be skipping, is paying the smallest balance first. And once that is paid off, take that payment and add it to the next loan that you have, and then so on and so forth until you get that paid off. There's another method that you can pay the debt with the highest interest. It just varies on what your goal is, on how you want to pay things down. Some people say you should pay the thing with the highest interest, because if you let it stay, interest is still building up over time. What people don't understand is that interest accrues to your loan daily, and that compounds, which means that if you let the one with the highest interest stay, you're going to have to pay more money in the end. So some people like to attack the one that has the highest interest. It just depends on what your goal is and how you want to get out of that debt. But resolve any collections you may have. Do not run. If you have something that is in collections, my suggestion is not to run away from it, as Ladonna has already said, because there may be things in place that can that they have that can help you get through it. So I also have another tip, is if you have a collection and that collection has been on your credit for 6 years, you may not want to pay that. You may want to talk to that agency and say, hey, if I pay this, can you remove this from my credit altogether, versus paying it at 6 years, because what happens is you start your clock all over again. There's a 7-year window that something can stay on your credit, but if it's already been there for 6 years and you pay it, you start it back off at year 1, so it's going to stay there even longer. And I don't tell anybody not to pay their debt, but what I do say is see if that collector will allow you to pay it and remove it completely from the credit.
Okay. So when you said it at year 6, if you pay it, do you mean if you start paying on it, or if you pay it off, that it'll still remain?
Either way.
Okay.
A payment made to a debt that is in collections that has been there for years is going to start your clock all the way over.
So if I pay it off without having talked to that financial institution, that means that's year 1, and that's going to be on there for 7 more years and not just go away.
Correct.
That's
wow.
good to know.
That is very.
Call them before you pay it off, just to make sure. I mean, because I'm sure there are probably many people that have done that, thinking that, okay, I'm in year 6. If I go ahead and pay this off, then it's going to be removed from my credit history, not knowing that, no, now you've started over. And yes, it's a paid collection, but it's still going to be on my credit history. So that means it's still going to be affecting my ability to, number one, raise my credit score and to, borrow in the future. So that is, I'll write that down. That's good information. Yes. That's good. I did not know.
And then too, if you do call them to make an arrangement like that, you want to get it in writing.
Yes.
Get that deal in writing so that they can't say, well, we never made that agreement. Who did you speak to? And you don't remember who you spoke to. So now is your word against their word. You always want to get a arrangement like that in writing.
Okay, I love that. That's really good information. Good information.
So a question that, another question based on what we were just talking about. Typically, what is a desired or a good credit score? What, you have some late payments, you're rebuilding your credit. What's the credit score to try to attain realistically, starting off? And I mean, I think the highest goes to like 900. Is that the highest? 850?
Mm-hmm.
So what is like an average, typical?
I say a 680. 700 and above is usually what they look for. If you have a 680, you can still get stuff with a decent interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, if you're looking for a house, you can get a house with a 640 starting off. You said 640. No, you can go ahead.
I was just going to say 640 would be a good place to be, not to stay, but a good place to be at, to get a decent credit, to get a decent rate for whatever it is that you're applying for. But like I said, keep working at it. You want to continue to
Of
keep
course.
working, but
Of course.
I don't want people to be discouraged to apply for things just because they don't have that type of credit score.
Right.
Because just like Val was talking about earlier, credit unions have a tendency to be able to assist those that are below that type of credit score. And we all know that bad things happen to good people.
Mm-hmm.
And so there could be different types of situations. Maybe there was a sickness or so it's not just looking at, and that's what I do like about the credit union world too, is that they're not just looking at the black and white, that's what's on the paper, but they're actually digging deeper and trying to figure out what's actually the circumstance, what's the situation, what's going on. So that, maybe it was where you had 6 payments that you were late, but we can see all of these other payments that you paid on time. We know that, okay, there's something, a life-changing event must have happened. Let's
Right,
figure out what's
right.
going on here and then see how we can get you back on track. So I don't want to discourage anybody from applying just because you don't have the 640 credit score. That's not what we're saying here. But
Mhm.
you asked the question of what would be a good average one. Average is probably the 640. And then, but like I said, continue to work. But even if you got a 585 credit score, don't be afraid to apply for something. Don't be afraid to go in and talk about what your circumstances are, what your situations are, because that's not to say that you won't be helped or you won't be assisted. But at least even if they aren't able to help you, they can direct you in the right way so that you can come back in then maybe the next 3 months or the next 6 months and be able to get what it is that you're actually looking for.
Okay.
I love that, especially when you talked about good things happening or bad things happening to good people.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times, especially in the church world, especially the African American church world, sometimes it seems that we find money like a difficult issue to talk about. We kind of run away from it. And so what I wanted to ask you is that why do you think that it's so hard for the church, and not just the church, but people in general, to even broach the subject of money and money management?
I think it's hard sometimes because it could be depending on the way that you grew up. You know, sometimes especially in the black households, sometimes money's just not discussed. And not necessarily for them just not wanting to discuss it, but I think a lot of times parents just didn't really know. They didn't have the knowledge. And so they didn't know what to pour into you, or they may not have even had the money to even talk about, for you to be able to talk about anything of how to save or whatever the case may be. So I think that has a lot to do with why people don't discuss it, but also too, I feel like people don't discuss it because maybe they're just embarrassed of what things are, the way the situation is right now. They don't want to talk about it because they don't want people in their business, per
Right.
se. One of the things that, you hear all the time is with when we were kids and the adults would say that stay out of grown folks' business, type of deal. And so they, whatever their situation was, their situation, that ain't got nothing to do with you, and I'm not going to put you in, I'm not going to add you in it. And so that's kind of a part of the issue too, is you're afraid to talk about it. You don't want other people to know your business, so you just rather just stay in your little box and not better yourself. That's what I feel.
I agree with everything that Ladonna has said. A lot of it is too, at church, we have appearances to keep up. And so we don't want people to know
We broke.
our money funny over here.
Mhm.
So we don't talk about money. And that's unfortunate. A lot of people walk around, they're doing things they can't afford because they got to have this. And then sometimes I've seen where sometimes church leadership may not necessarily be as understanding. They put mandates, go and purchase this suit, this color, this dress, that color. And somebody might not necessarily be able to afford it. And they don't have the nerve to say, I'm sorry, but I won't be able to do that. So that does lead to the appearance thing. So we do things we can't afford to do to keep up with everybody else in the church. And that's unfortunate that that happens, but it does happen quite a bit. We will spend money on the things that we want and then have to beg to pay for things for our needs. And so it's a keeping up of appearances for things for a lot of people in the church, I believe.
It's interesting, excuse me, that you said that, because I think that's it's right in the church world, but I think it's right in the world. I don't think the church is just the only microcosm where we have the appearance thing that we're trying to, the statement that we're
Correct.
keeping up with the Joneses. They got a new car. Oh Lord, we need a new car. Oh Lord, they just got a new. So they went to Paris for their vacation. Oh well, we got to go to Greece. So we are always in this like competitive environment instead of living within our means. Maybe we going to Disney World. We can't go to Greece. How about that? Okay. And living within our means, or saving for those kinds of experiences that we want to have. And so I think that it's important that as we are trying to be better stewards of God's money, if we see it as God's money and He's allowed us to be able to manage it, then we have a responsibility to Him to steward it well and to, have those difficult conversations. It might be difficult where everybody's getting the green suit for women in, or women on the move, or whatever we're doing at church.
Right.
It might be difficult to say I can't afford to buy that, because we've attached what, and I'm looking for the word, we've attached worth to wealth. And if I don't have the money, then somehow my worth is less. And so I won't say to you that I don't have it, because I don't want you to look at me like, oh, poor baby, she's not worthy because she doesn't have any money. No, she just doesn't have any money, or maybe she's spending her money elsewhere on other things that are more important. So I think it's important for us to have these conversations so that we can kind of pull down the wall of shame.
Yes.
The wall of when I'm in trouble, I won't tell you. So I keep sinking deeper in situations, or that we were talking earlier about how when we don't have conversations about money, when we don't have conversations about wealth, then we are just hindering other generations behind us.
Exactly.
They always have to start at the bottom, or they always have to dig themselves out of holes, because we won't just have conversations about money. So we don't learn what money is. We don't learn how money works. We don't learn how to grow money. We don't learn how to manage money. And so we are always behind, like that hamster in that wheel. We're always running, trying to get something, because we won't just sit down and say, I don't understand money. I don't know how this is working. Can somebody teach me? So we have to put ourselves in a teachable position so somebody can help us with money.
And that's part of being a good steward too, because a part of that is what we as adults or parents or whomever have to teach our children.
Yes.
It tells us
Yes.
to train our children.
Right.
And so, like you say, it's generational. They grow up, they have households, and they don't know how to handle money.
Right.
But in some other cultures, some other, that's a dinner conversation.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
talking about stocks, and we're talking about bonds and investments, and we're like, what's that? So we have to do a better job,
Yes.
preparing our children so that when they are on their own, that they are making good financial decisions, that they're learning how to grow their money so that they can help, bless the church.
Yes.
Or bless, they can do other ministry so that they can, be better stewards with what they're receiving. And then also they're able to teach other people, what they know. And Because, we just need to, like you say, have those conversations, not be fearful, not be so private, with information that we know. And some of us, sometimes we learn things and we won't share.
Won't share it.
We won't share because we don't want the next person to have what we have. And we can't do that. It's time out for that. I mean, share it. That's, that's what love does.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. That's what love does. I like that.
So let's talk about budgets. Let's talk about budgets. Since we're kind of there, let's talk about budgets. So why do you think people seem to not want to set a budget for their finances? Why do you think they not want to set them up?
First of all, I don't think people like to be told what to do. That's a big thing for people.
Okay.
They don't want to be told how they spend their money. People feel like they work hard. They should be able to spend hard. They should be able to do whatever it is that they want to do. But then you run into situations where you've overspent. You don't have the means to be able to do all the stuff that you're doing, and you run into issues and problems, but then you keep it private. That's one of the big things I feel like is people don't want to be told what to do. But then also, too, people aren't taught about budgeting, so they don't even know what it is.
They don't know how to.
Sometimes people feel like, I don't even have enough to pay my regular bills. How am I going to budget anything? So those are reasons why I think people shy away from budgeting.
Okay, and I think that they don't, because they don't want to hold themselves accountable. Budgeting is knowing what you have and how to spread it out and pay everything that you need. And a lot of times we know we don't have what we need, but we'll make it go as far as we can. So if I don't know what I have, then it just is what it is. And so they just do not want to hold themselves accountable. She said they don't want to be told what to do. Well, budgeting, I mean, your money will tell you what to do. Somebody's going to tell you.
Exactly.
Tell you what you can't do.
Yes. And I just think they're afraid to ask for help because a lot of times, as she said before, they don't know how to budget. And I think maybe that's probably the biggest portion of it, that they don't know how to budget and they just are afraid to ask.
I know for me, before I started budgeting, kind of like you said, I didn't want to see what the real deal was. It was better, like, they say ignorance is bliss. It was better not knowing, because I was like, if I had put it down on paper, then I'm going to really know what the real deal is.
Swipe that card.
Right.
Correct.
And so I had to confront my own pride. To say, well, okay, look, what you're doing is not working. So let's just do the hard thing and look at what you have coming in. Look at what you have going out. Look at where perhaps you could be being wasteful, that you could to put on other things. And so for me, it was getting over myself and just dealing with what was real and not wishing for it to be different. Right. It couldn't be different until I looked at, what the situation really was. So it was hard to look at them numbers, but I'm getting better.
And then also something that we have to remember, we're in this series of stewardship, and we have to remember, I know we said that we don't want people to tell us what to do with our money. Well, it's not our money. Right. I mean, God has allowed us to use his money. We're just managers and I guess co-workers or whatever of what he's given us. So we have to make sure that we are, learning how to manage it well.
Yes.
Because when we do that, that honors God. And it helps to, get us back on track to building the kingdom.
Yes.
I mean, that's why we have those resources. Yes, we can do things that we need and want, but also our ultimate goal is to, use it for God's purpose, to build his kingdom and to build people.
Well, let me ask you this then. So when you're setting up your budget, how much of your income, like in percentages, should you be devoting to like housing or food, or how should you set up a budget? what are good tools that you could use to set up budgets so that it works for you?
So what I would say, some good principles, maybe first and foremost, well, you want the percentages, is that what you're asking? I
Yes.
just want to make sure. So a lot of times what people did in the past, and it may not work now because of inflation, but what people did in the past was the 50-30-20 rule, which is 50% of it goes towards your needs, 30% goes towards your wants, and 20% goes towards your savings.
Okay.
It may be a little bit difficult now because eggs cost $12.
And that's a need. We need eggs.
It may be a little bit different. So you just have to figure out how to balance it out. And then too,
Okay.
sometimes people, it may not be 50% of your income that you may have in debt. So it's just you being able to really dive in and figure out what it is that you actually have, and then what percentage of your income needs to be a part of your needs, what percentage of your income needs to be wants, what percentage of your income needs to be your savings account. I know sometimes we feel like we need Netflix and we need even to the point of a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
You may not need it. You know what I mean? I mean, we need a house phone, at
Right.
least a house phone. Now, and it'll kill everybody if we don't get the cell phone, so we can be on social media and do all that we want to do on it. But at the same time, but it just depends on, like, even cable or things like that. That's in the want section.
Right.
But your needs are, you need to pay your rent, you need to pay your mortgage, you need to pay your light bill, you need to pay your car so you can get to work, so you can be able to pay your car insurance.
Mhm.
You know, those things are for eat. You need to be able to do those things. But sometimes we budget things the incorrect way when it comes to food and all that too. We overspend in those areas. So we really need to just take a real deep dive into what is it that we actually are doing. And like you said, facing it, both of you guys said it, being able to face what you have. So you really right now, really looking at your account to say, where did I spend my money this month? What did I do? If you would be amazed to see the stuff that we bought.
Right.
Yes,
Like,
Lord.
what in the world?
I spent this much money eating.
Right, exactly. So that would be some of the things that I would say that try the 50-30-20 rule, but you may need to tweak it, like I said, because of inflation and how things are. But I would say that's a good rule to follow.
Okay, I like that. Any additions?
No, I think she covered it.
Okay. All right.
So, what would you all say are some of the biggest mistakes that people make with their finances? I think we covered some of them, like wanting to keep up with the Joneses or the appearances. But what are some of the other mistakes? You know, some of the biggest ones, that the most common ones that we see people
Impulse
making.
buying.
Impulse buying. Okay.
People just wanting something because it looks good. Not that you need it, not that you even want it, but you just, I got to have that. That looks so good. It's shiny. It's beautiful. It's, you know, so impulse buying, I think, is a big deal that I see all the time. People just, you just getting all kinds of department store cards. You just going, and every week you getting a new card because they say, oh, you can save. You know, you can save this amount of money while you're in here today. And so people just racking up debt. Not thinking about how it's actually affecting their credit. And department store cards really don't help you, to be very honest. But people do that all the time. So I feel like people are like impulse buyers, and also too, they're just continuously going out and just spending more and more and more without paying attention to what is actually happening. And then you come to a wall, and it's like, hey, I need your help. I need your help. Like, well, first of all, why did you go and do all this? But that's where I feel like I see the mistakes where people are just impulse buying and just continuously just going out and racking up new debt that they don't have to actually have.
I like that. You want to add to that, Valerie?
Unnecessary vacations.
Wait, hold on.
Unnecessary vacations.
It's necessary.
No.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that, what I have seen is that people take vacations when they have not paid for the things that are necessary. So they'll spend their mortgage on a vacation, and it happens more times than you think. That is impulse buying too, in a certain sense, because you wanted to do. Your friend went to Mexico, so you thought you should go to Aruba too. but you can't afford to go to Aruba. And now the mortgage passed due, and you don't know where you're going to get the money from to pay it. So I don't think we think about those kind of things. And like she said, we feel like we work so hard that we deserve it. You do deserve it, but you deserve to plan for it. That's how I feel about it. You knew summer's coming. You knew Christmas was coming. Come the same time every year.
Every year.
Same time every year.
Look at that.
But instead of us putting aside the money so that we can do it and not have the stress added by not paying the mortgage, we just do stuff like that.
And I love how both of you talked about, I guess, impulse buying in a couple of different arenas. And so as we pull this to a close, I want to know from the both of you, and even Sister Beverly, I want to hear from you as well. What is the best advice that you've been given on managing money that you can share with us?
I would say, if you don't have it, don't spend it.
I love that.
If you don't have it, don't try to spend it. Don't go and use a credit card to spend on something that you know you're not going to have to pay it right back off. That's an important thing to do, and you're just continuously racking up debt that you don't need. So if you don't have it, don't spend it. Stop keeping up with the Joneses. You don't have to do that.
Right.
You don't have to do that.
I love that.
Live in your lane. Live in your lane.
I love that.
Live in your lane.
Live in your lane.
Live in your lane.
For me, I have received good advice from my dad, also from my grandfather, and they always said save, 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 save. And after I became an adult, I learned it in a different format. And the format is that you tithe to God, you tithe to yourself, and then you pay your bills. That was something I used to pay everything. I would pay my tithe first, and then I would pay my bills and then have nothing left to save. But if you tithe to God first and then tithe to yourself and whatever else is left, the rest of them, that's what they get. Because at the end of the day is, if I've given you all my money and I get my back up against the wall and I don't have anything, that's not good. You need to take care of yourself. Just as much as you reverence God and the house of God, you pay those tithes. But you also pay yourself. And the man get whatever's left.
The man.
So that's saving.
Okay. All right.
So I think the biggest piece of advice that I've received, and it's more so for couples, I was told that you should never, your expenses should never exceed the lowest income that comes into that house.
Okay. Makes sense.
And it made no sense. I'm like, but we ball and we both got good jobs. We got,
So
we can spend stuff, but you never know when somebody's going to lose that job.
Right.
COVID comes or whatever.
Right.
You never know when that income is going away. So if you're not living above that lowest income, if something happens, when life happens,
Right.
you're going to be okay because you're not living, as you all said, above your means.
Right.
So, I mean, that was just like, and I tell this to anybody that I know that's getting married. I'm giving advice. That's my one advice. Don't live above the lowest income that you receive in home.
I love that. Y'all taking notes. I hope y'all, this has been a blessing me. I have learned so much on tonight. I'm taking notes mentally because I couldn't do it physically, but I'm going to watch this again so I can actually take physical notes. So I hope that you all have been blessed. I want to give a piece of advice that I got, and then how God is teaching me how to add on to it. My grandfather, Deacon Herbie Watts, would always say, "Are you saving your money? Are you saving your money?" And I'm like, "Of course I'm not. No. And every time he saw you, it wasn't just like every time he saw you, he would say that. And I think back now, if I had heeded that advice, how much further along I'd be financially.
Yes.
But what the Lord is teaching me how to add to that is not just saving my money, but investing my money.
Right.
So that I don't just have a pot earning 3 to 5%, but that I have a pot earning, praise the Lord, that percent.
Right.
So taking the savings that my grandfather taught me to do and investing that money so that I can have a better return. So I don't have any children, but so that my nieces and my great nieces and nephews can kiss my picture when I am no longer here because Auntie was good to them.
Yes.
Or just
Yes.
my family in general, my community, they would be that much better off. Let's do this. What I want to ask our viewing audience to do is to leave the best piece of advice, financial advice, in the comments. I know you've gathered and gained from what we've shared, but leave those in the comments so that we can learn from it, that people viewing this can see that comment and learn from it. Because what we're trying to do with this series is to help us grow, to help us be better, to help us not be in the same place this time next year. I'm looking to hear testimonies that I watched, the series that you all did on stewardship, and this is where I am this year. Because even as we are helpers one of another, we are stewards one of another. So we help each other grow, we help each other get better. So I pray that as we leave on today, that this has been helpful to you. And before we leave, if you do not know the Lord and you've been watching us and you would like to get to know him, we want to give you the opportunity to do that. Romans 10:9 says that if you would confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that the Lord has raised Jesus from the dead, that you would be saved. For it is with the mouth that man confesses unto salvation. So if you do not know the Lord and you would like to know him, all you have to do is say this simple prayer. Dear Lord, thank you that you came, bled, and died for me, that you resurrected and ascended to heaven to give me the opportunity to know you. Right now, I receive you as my Lord and my Savior. Thank you for saving me. And if you said that prayer, we would like to welcome you into the household of God. And we look forward to seeing you and to hugging you and to welcoming you physically into the body of Christ. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Tell him all about our troubles. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on, let's sing that one tonight. Goes like this. You've heard this one, haven't you? Now let us have a little talk with Jesus. Tell him all about our troubles. He will hear our